Welcome to Sit with Yuuma, and I'm your host, Yuuma himself. Take a seat, get comfortable, and let's talk. Hello there. This is episode 1 of Sit with Yuuma, and today I wanted to talk to you about starting fresh. Now, most of you might be tuning in from pre-existing relationships with me, whether that was running my gaming community, Uncharted, or tuning into my Twitch streaming as a VTuber. But if you are new here, welcome on in. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I hope you enjoy our talks together. Now, starting fresh, I think, is something relatable to everyone, no matter what age or what lifestyle you live. Whether you're in high school, university, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, etc. There is going to be a time where you're going to have to start fresh. And what do I mean by starting fresh? How do you know when to start fresh? Now, there are going to be times where you're putting a lot of time investment into something that isn't proving to be fruitful. There is no fruit. You're just withering away your time. And you got to set yourself a deadline of when you got to stop doing the same damn thing. If there's proving to be losses or it's affecting the people around you, then you definitely need to stop doing it. Let me know down in the comments if you are feeling that way, if you're currently going through that, or if you are in the process of starting fresh. I currently am in the process of starting fresh, but before you start fresh, there are a few things to keep in mind. You first need to change your priorities. Make sure your priorities are fixed, your attitude is fixed, that you are aware of the problems. Because if you're just starting fresh, going on a new adventure, figuring yourself out, finding fulfillment, but not fixing your priorities or accepting the flaws that you have and trying to make change to it, you're just going to repeat the same damn cycle. You're going to be continuing to waste your time, not creating any fruit or being a benefit to yourself or anyone around you. Sometimes there has to be an attitude check. You got to make sure you are in the right mind state to start fresh. Otherwise, you're not really starting fresh. You're just doing a sequel to the same bullshit that you were doing before. I'm a person that has done that. I've started fresh, but never changed my mindset, or I thought I changed my mindset, but I think I was just in denial. I really had to learn the hard way and realize things later than I wish I realized them. Definitely wish I caught the signs. I feel like I caught the signs and I just ignore them. I'm just a red flag enjoyer, I guess, which is not good. Eventually, you're going to have to sit yourself down and kind of force those changes, whether you like it or not, because it's like a bad habit, it's like alcohol or cigarettes. It's hard to quit, but you got to make those changes or make the effort, and then slowly, little by little, you will change. Don't give up on yourself, and for those who are listening, when I say like you guys, I'm talking mainly to me, really. This podcast is more for me than it is for you guys, but if it is relatable and you guys are going through a similar issue or a similar experience, then I'm happy to help. But yeah, this is more self-therapy than anything. I really just needed a outlet, and I felt like this podcast is a very good outlet for me. I've always wanted to do a podcast for a good year now, maybe more. I just never got around to it, and that's part of my issue as well that I've realized is I have all these grand ideas, but I never set out to do them. I'm very much a procrastinator, just self-indulging, like playing video games instead of really grinding to make this happen. So I'm very proud of myself and happy that I'm taking this step, but hold me to it, guys. I really need to do it regularly Wow, why is it so hard to say that? Regularly. Yeah, there you go. I have issues like speech issues where I'm hoping that doing these episodes consistently will help me with my speech as well, because sometimes you're going to be catching me pausing or stuttering too much, or trying to, I get brain lag. I'm sure everyone gets brain lag. I don't know if that's like a modern century issue. I feel like ever since the introduction of social media and the internet, I feel like we have degraded as humans. Like our ability to do things definitely feels stunted. However, to get back on topic, I feel like the reason why we always have to end up having a fresh start is mainly because of our loss or lack of direction. For the most of my life, I felt very directionless. Like back when I was a kid, I feel like everyone was asked, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I definitely had the answers when I was a kid. I wanted to go to the army or be a policeman, a fireman. But as you grow up, sometimes those dreams that you had of growing up don't really pan out, or you lose interest in that. Definitely, I didn't have the worst off of childhoods. I know there's a lot of people that had very bad childhoods, but I was given many opportunities. I've done karate, taekwondo, never stuck with it. Had the opportunity to do things that, of course, a lot of people might have never even had the option to, because money is always a problem. The more money you have, the more access to opportunities you have. And some of us, we have to be creative on like finding things to do and finding new passions. But I think it doesn't matter regardless with what you have. I think a lot of people lose direction, and I was one of them. Like after high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do, what program to choose for university. I was very much just kind of riding with the flow, and eventually, inevitably, you're gonna be lost. And that happened for me, still happening for me. I still don't know what direction to take. I feel like it's not just me though. And that's why, again, with the podcast, I'm still figuring myself out, and I found this as a nice avenue of just trying new things, and a bit of therapy for me, just to kind of get my thoughts all together on paper. So far, we talked about needing a fresh start, preparing for a fresh start, and loss of direction or lack of direction. Now I really want to talk about the sunk cost fallacy. Now, the sunk cost fallacy is the human tendency to stick with endeavors in which we've already invested time, money, or other resources, even when changing course would be the more logical choice. That whole definition, just searched it on Google, but it makes a lot of sense when it comes to fresh starts. Sometimes we wait too long for a fresh start when, like, literally we could have been saving years, like 5-10 years of our life, if we just took that fresh start when we first saw the red signs. But because we invested so much time already, we trick ourselves into thinking that it's only logical to keep pushing and keep trying. I've gotten this far, I've spent this much, I might as well go through with it to the very end. It's such an easy way to trick our brains to think that way. That's how I trick my brain to keep spending more money on video games. Go, go, go. I'm already this deep. Might as well go all in. It's that same issue when people do gambling, right? Video games and gambling go hand in hand, especially with gacha games. So, gotta be very careful. But yeah, again, you gotta realize, you gotta get some perspective, whether that's finding it yourself or having a support system, your girlfriend, boyfriend, family members, best friend, to tell you that there's something wrong. And you gotta listen to them, because sometimes we're like, we know better, or you know better, but we always tend to just kind of shrug it off and just do our own thing and then learn the hard way. At least I do. So definitely the sunk cost fallacy plays a part into why our fresh start is delayed, when we could have easily had that fresh start and save us so much time, so much of our youth, and then work on something that, you know, is so much better. I feel like the longer we take for that fresh start, the more opportunities we miss in that sense as well. So yeah, I just feel very regretful of all the time I've wasted, but it's never too late. And it's not like you're quitting. No one wants to quitter. You definitely want to try. You don't want to retreat or run away from the first signs of problems, but there's only so much tolerance or tenacity before you should know when to give up. A good strategist knows when to retreat and when to attack, right? So definitely you should take a seat, sit back, and kind of look at what is worth fighting for and what is worth keeping, and vice versa, what you should be dropping or no longer fighting for. Also, I have no clue, back to rambling by the way, I have no clue how people podcast for 40 minutes. I feel like I've only covered 10 minutes and I'm already struggling on topic points. But yeah, I'm sure I'll learn as I go. My brain's lagging. Can't figure it out right now. As for podcasts, I'm hoping to do at least once a week. It's hard to find a window to talk and record for like an hour straight, because it's not just the straight 40 minutes. I have to like make sure there's no background noises. My surroundings is not mic treated, so there's always a background noise in the back. I'm like, oh fuck, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's very hard. I have a lot of background noise, a lot of stuff going on in my surroundings, so finding some peace and quiet to actually record is near impossible. But I look forward to doing this once a week, and I also want to talk about not just stories from the heart. I definitely want to do a series of spooky horror podcasts, some like short stories and stuff like that. I think that would be really nice. Definitely want to try different voice acting methods and scripts. So definitely look forward to that if that's right down your alley. I do appreciate all the first time listeners as well as tuning in to this podcast, and we will have guests in the future. Hopefully my girlfriend can come along as well in future podcast episodes. But yeah, here's to starting fresh. Cheers to that. Hopefully you have coffee or tea. My preference is coffee. I don't have any right now. Drink some water. God damn, I'm dehydrated. But yeah, to get back on topic, I have a question for you listeners. Have you ever felt lost in life or lost your purpose in life? And are you doing any steps to reinvent yourself and start fresh? Like, what are your steps? What are your methods? I would like to know, because there's always more than one way to get to a destination, an objective, and obviously there are faster, shorter, more effective ways, and I would love to hear it from you. It doesn't have to be anything grand. I think everything requires baby steps, and again, this podcast is my way of reinventing myself and starting fresh and finding purpose again. With that in mind, it's important to find something for yourself and not just what everybody else is doing or what someone is trying to pressure you into doing. You have to genuinely want to do it yourself. Now, a common example is that stereotype where the Asian parents wants you to become a doctor or a lawyer. Obviously, that isn't something that you don't want to do. Well, I assume you don't want to do it. I'm just using this as an example, but you're being pressured into something that you don't even want to start. And if you start doing that, you're led into the wrong direction. You're wasting time. Um, so you need to find something you genuinely want to do, find passion for, and invest time. Be consistent, practice. Not every day is going to be a fun day, but you should still continue to do it because practice makes perfect, as they always say, and it's the same goes with consistency makes perfect as well. I do want to preface that there's going to be a time where you're going to have to do more than one fresh start. It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes a fresh start leads nowhere, and that's the reality of things. Not everything is going to go smoothly, and that's just life. I feel like life, you got to keep on changing, adapting, moving forward, and until you find the right thing, until you find the right person, the right job, or the right hobbies, right friends. It's just a matter of trial and error, to be honest. And some people just see the signs easier than others. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in taking longer. In my opinion, I think we all have to take our time, and sometimes we take longer in other things, but we might be faster in other things. It's just the way it is. Not everyone is going to be built different, and all the things they want to be, right? But you have traits of your own that make you shine, and sometimes it's important to take advantage of those traits as well. For example, again, I've always gotten compliments for my voice, so again, I just felt that I had to do something with my voice, whether that was streaming. Turns out streaming was not the right calling for me, and then I did some gaming, YouTubing. Wasn't a fan of it, and here I am with a podcast. So trying 3 times in a row. Is this the one that's gonna stick? Who knows? But I definitely want to at least give it a try, and I urge you to try new things as well. It's always nice to try new things, at least within your own morals, boundaries. Don't let, again, anyone pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. Gotta stand your ground, and I think it builds character. It's very important to find ways to elevate yourself and build yourself. So those are my thoughts. Again, I don't have all the life experiences and knowledge. Take everything I say with a grain of salt and figure it out yourself. Not everything's going to work the same way for each person. That's why we're all human, right? We all work differently. But yeah, I just want to share my ideas, my thoughts, and bounce that off you, hear your own thoughts. And, that's why we sit together and have these conversations. And that's why I call it Stories from the Heart. I will have a different segment where we talk about spooky stories, fictional stories, and that will be entertaining, a different aspect of this podcast series. But yeah, that's it. That's all I really got to say. That's pretty much it for this episode. It's going to be a short one, just to kind of introduce myself, talk about the fresh start, and we'll move on from there. Tune in next time. Thank you for sitting down with me, having this chat, and I look forward to your next visit. I'll see you around.